that was actually pretty charming.
Welcome to the Broken Heart Gallery.
Heartbreak is the loneliest feeling in the world, and the truth is, it happens to us all.
I think you should put your penis in his vagina.
Oh, I should put my penis
In his vagina.
First of all, I want to say thank you to anybody who's been along this journey. It's a sad day. It's a sad day, I tell you what, because this is the last movie review I'll be doing in my current abode. The next one you see, whenever that'll be, will be my new casa. And this will be the last review in this current place. Also, that being said, normally I go to Regal for all these movies, and Regal shut back down again. At the time of me recording this, Regal has shut down their theaters again. So this is the last film that I saw in a theater prior to Regal's second shutdown. I don't know how long they're going to shut down, when they're going to reopen. I typically will go there. If I have to go to a different theater for movie reviews, I'll do it. But, God, weird year. Weird year. This is going to be for the Broken Hearts Gallery, released this year, 2020. And, yeah, you might have seen a trailer for it, just like a little rom-com that kind of like was put into the trailers before another movie you probably were going to go see. Maybe you didn't think much about this. A lot of these movies that, the last few movie reviews that I've done, with the exception of Akira, those have all been kind of just, it's what's been playing. It hasn't been so much like, oh, I've been dying to see this, but like, it was out. Movie's actually pretty good, I gotta admit. I normally don't frequently watch romantic comedies. I think this might be the first romantic comedy that I've actually, like, officially reviewed on my channel. But, yeah, not a bad film overall. To start from the top down, let's just go right through it. Directed by Natalie Krinsky. Funny enough, unless the IMDb was misleading or I didn't do enough research, this appears to be like her first official, like, this is my film and I'm directing it type of deal. Her filmography points to, she's done a lot of writing and I believe some directing for episodes of Grey's Anatomy, Gossip Girl, 90210. She did a pretty bang-up job, I'd say. And you probably saw this trailer and recognized one person and one person only, and that is Dacre Montgomery. And this stud of a man, as everybody knows him as Billy from Stranger Things. Now, I will say in this movie, he's not a racist, so no worries. Good actor, charming fella, good-looking dude, all that good stuff. And he leads the movie with, well, I shouldn't say he leads the movie. He's with the lead, who is Gerald. I'm gonna butcher this. Geraldine Viswanathan. Anyway, she's the star of this movie, 100%, and she kills it. Not only do I love the fact that like we're getting representation in this movie, but she does a great job. She, even through some of because there's some fairly cheesy lines in the script here and there. I would be remiss if I didn't admit that like the script must be on a charcuterie platter because it has its fair share of exotic cheese. She does a great job. She's charming. She's funny. I thought she was charming and funny. I'd date her. Like, I'd be down to clown. Like, and them together, they have actually really kind of cute chemistry. This movie doesn't do anything new with the romantic comedy formula. I'm not going to detract points from a rating for that. It doesn't have to. I don't think every film has to revitalize its genre. I don't think that horror or comedy or action, I don't think it has to reinvent the wheel. You can always expand upon and make it your own. And honestly, I think part of the reason why I enjoyed this movie, surprisingly as much as I did, it doesn't reinvent the idea of the romantic comedy, but it does certainly take it on in a different way. The whole movie, the basic premise of the movie is about moving on and letting go, and especially people our age in this generation. By our age, I mean like mid to late 20s. Sorry if any of you thought I was like 42 or something. People in our generation have a very difficult time letting go, or at least some of them do. I know there's some of you out there that are like, oh, it's no problem to me. Oh, I got a pile of exes. I just tunnel vision. I just pump them and dump them, or fuck whatever. I don't know, but I can personally speak to the idea, and close friends of mine can, that's, you know, if you went as far as to date somebody, you really cared about them, and there was an attraction there, possibly something even akin to that of love. And, you know, there's gifts you give each other, like anything from handwritten notes to letters to actual, like, handmade gifts or kooky trinkets, or even just things like, you know, your boyfriend's hoodie or girlfriend's necklace or whatever. I don't know. You get the point. And they're things you cherish. And so when these relationships end, unfortunately, whether they end amicably or in a disaster, if you still have these items, for a lot of people, it's very difficult to move on. To take that into this movie, and this girl who has had her slew of shitty romantic partners and bad breakups and all this, and she has a room full of all these knickknacks, and the friends are like, oh, you gotta let go of the past, but for her it's difficult, and for a lot of people it is. So after you running into old Billy over here, she decides to make a Broken Hearts gallery and have people from all over New York come and get rid of, but also contribute these items that mean something to them, you know. I think it's a very creative and kind of like heartwarming idea to have an art exhibit and a gallery that's dedicated to all these items that had actual emotional and meaningful attachment, and they're all put in this one place. And then, of course, our characters learn about themselves throughout the movie, etc. There's a romance that blossoms, and they both find love. And again, this movie's not breaking any records here. It's not changing the name of the game. Like, it's still a fairly cliche, and I would say, of course, there's situations in this movie that just, for narrative's sake, and because I got to be a critic about this, they're contrived and not 100% realistic, and there's some cheesy moments and all that, but it had good direction. I liked the set design a lot for a lot of these places, whether it was the main character's room, other characters' rooms, or even like an ex's room that you can tell he's very simplistic and streamlined, so his apartment is all very clean and doesn't have much to it, and is all very like simple and effective, and hers is a jumble of, you know, it's clean and organized in the sense of how a museum is organized, and there's just a bunch of everything everywhere on shelves, and just the point I'm trying to make is that the sets all made sense in the context of the characters, and I mean, it was well lit, it was well shot, it was well directed, I thought. There weren't really any characters I didn't like, even like, you know, the stereotypical kind of shitty ex. Like, I didn't dislike him, I just like could tell what kind of character he was, and they were all played well by the actors in the film. I didn't have any grievances with any of that. Like, it was all enough to keep my attention. I was curious to see how it would go. There were charming moments, heartwarming moments, surprisingly sad moments. I did like how not only, as I've touched on now heavily, not only did I think there was a good message about this, which the ultimate message is that there's a way to still kind of hold on to these memories, but letting go of certain parts of your past and of the heartbreak is a good way to move on and continue with your life. And even though it's the hardest thing to do, in any context, it's always difficult, but there's a way for us to all kind of move on in our own way and try to put some parts of that in the past. So I liked how it kind of touched on these real ideals. There were surprising moments of, like, you know, between the moments of levity in the script, there were these serious little nuggets that were fairly well written that, you know, got into a little bit of like deep therapist shit. And I was like, okay, I see you, script. Okay. And not to mention, there were some surprisingly like emotional and deep layers to the story. When you find out why our main character, the gal, Geraldine, when you find out why she feels the way she does about holding on to all these things and not wanting to let go, you sympathize with her character to a greater extent, and it makes a lot of sense. And I mean, it's like, you know, everybody has their own fair share of trauma, but it's not contrived. It's very real. And for me, it was very real because what's happened to her literally happened to me as well. So, I mean, I was able to relate to this movie personally on a bunch of different levels. But what I'm trying to say, without getting into a huge dissection of the movie, is that it's a surprisingly nice little time. I don't know if I'd buy it on Blu-ray or 4K or whatever, maybe if it's on a Black Friday sale, but I would 100% want to watch it again. I'd watch it with friends, with a date. I'd put it on in the background while I'm doing something, maybe if it like pops on Netflix, you know. I don't think it's really a waste of your time. I think that if you get a chance to go see it in theaters, you know, for a date especially, I'd say, yeah, go for it. I'd say it's a really good rent a movie if you're just trying to like watch something with some friends that are open to nice little charming, cute romantic comedies and all that. As far as rom-coms go, I've seen some shitty, cheesy ones. I've seen my fair share of Lifetime and Hallmark films, but I gotta say, this is an exception. It's a really good one. So that's why, overall, I would give the Broken Hearts Gallery a very solid 4 out of 5. Maybe like a low 4, but it's not a perfect film, but I don't have a lot of complaints about it. I thought going into it I would have more complaints, or it'd be like a cheese fest, or, you know, I'd be falling asleep halfway through. But no, It's a good movie overall, like a really good romantic comedy. And honestly, I'd say I don't have a large reservoir to delve into romantic comedies, but as far as they go, it's a great one that is 100% worth your time. So check it out. It's cute, it's charming. You might get emotional, you might connect to it like I did, but worth a watch. 100% worth a watch. That was my last movie review in this apartment. Like I said, it feels weird, man, but it's been a fun time making these videos. I'm not going to stop, of course. There'll be a period probably of transition while I'm moving everything over. Hell, I've been inspired by other YouTubers. I might even make a set. I don't know. If I can get off my lazy ass and do it, at the very least, as always, I'm still going to do every single movie review for any movie I see in theaters for the rest of the year. I'm still going to keep doing these next year. I'm still going to keep making content every week. All that usual stuff. So not a whole lot of crazy stuff is changing. You're just going to see different background probably, kind of, in the next video, and that's about it. So as always, thank you guys and gals so much for watching. If you have any movies you want to see me review, sure, I rarely get comments, but go for it. And as always, I will see you in the next movie review or whatever I do. So, goodbye, travelers.